So G says, I support the striking workers at Ergon Foods. They are underpaid. The majority of them make less than 20,000 per year. So G's conclusion is like, I support them because they're underpaid and they make less than $20,000 a year. Cool.
Okay. And then Nordecki says, if pay is the issue, I must disagree. The average annual salary of the striking workers at Ergon Foods is over $29,000.
Oh,
Okay.
this is such a good flaw to even practice, like if this was a flaw question.
Mm-hmm.
But so what is the there's so many things I want to point out here. So what is N's conclusion?
His conclusion is that he must disagree if pay
Excellent.
is the issue.
So does Nordecki necessarily support or not support the striking workers?
Yeah, he doesn't say anything about
We don't
his
know, right?
allegiance.
Like he doesn't know if we don't know, like he might support the striking workers, but it's not because of pay.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the issue? Like if this was a flaw question and it said Nordecki's reasoning in response to G is flawed because he assumes what?
I think he assumes that um
Like what does he misunderstand?
I think it's the last part where
Mhm.
G is saying like the majority of them make less than $20,000, like they're underpaid. And then Nordecki is like, well, their annual average salary is over $29,000. So when I first read that, I was like, okay, but you can have like 3 people out of the 100 who are striking that make,
Billionaires. We could
yeah,
have like,
millions. And I was like, it's gonna completely throw off
yeah.
that
This
annual
is like in the
average.
United States saying like, oh, I might like if like low pay is like people that are complaining about the average or minimum wage being too low are wrong because the average salary in the United States is $30 per hour. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, excellent. But if we go back to our approach, so let's start with G.
Okay.
And let's start with A and yes, no, or I don't know. So the average salary at E is over $29,000.
G doesn't say anything about that, so we
We
wouldn't
don't
know.
know. Excellent. I bet a lot of people pick this, but
Oh,
all right.
okay.
What does G say about B?
Pay is the primary issue over which the workers are striking. We don't know if it's the primary issue. We just know that it's an issue. So I would say that we don't even know about that either.
Yeah, we don't know why they're striking.
Yeah. Um, it's reasonable to support striking workers who are underpaid. I would say that G does say this because he says he supports it.
Yep.
And then the
With his
striking workers.
support for why he supports them, his premise is they are underpaid.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And then D says the striking workers at Ergon Foods are underpaid. Yeah. So G would say yes to this. And then E says it was unreasonable for the workers at Ergon Foods to go on strike. Um, I put for this one, we wouldn't know, I think in G's case, just only because we know that he supports them, but we don't necessarily know if it was unreasonable of the workers to do this.
I actually say no to this
Oh,
because
okay.
I think he would say it was reasonable for them to go on strike.
Mm,
Like, how can you support someone and then not think it's reasonable?
mm-hmm.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I just had thought about it as that like, well, we know what's reasonable. We don't necessarily know what's unreasonable
But if he
of
would
the
say
workers.
yes to it's reasonable, wouldn't he say no to unreasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. No, you're totally fine. All right. So now let's go through our answers on behalf of N. So what would N say to C?
Um, it's reasonable to support striking workers who are underpaid. I think he would say not even know. I think we don't know just
Yes,
because
this is a trap answer because it's so
yeah.
similar to D. But in C, we're just talking, we have like, he might think it's reasonable for people to go on strike who are underpaid. He just doesn't think that the people at Ergon Foods are underpaid.
Yeah.
So we don't know. So we get to cross it off. Excellent.
Hmm.
And then what about D?
The striking workers are underpaid. So he says that if pay is the issue, I must disagree. So he probably thinks that they're not underpaid, like even if
Excellent.
they're not
Yeah, he thinks they're
overpaid.
fine. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
no to this one. So I'm liking D.
Hmm. And then it was unreasonable for the workers at Ergon Foods to go on strike. Yeah, we wouldn't even know that either if it was reasonable or unreasonable.
Because he's just saying on the issue of pay, he must disagree. But maybe there's
Mhm.
another issue that he
But
thinks
it's
is
just not being
reasonable,
talked
like
about.
sexual harassment. They should be going on strike for sex. We have no idea. So that's why it's
Yeah.
not E. And so our answer is going to be D.
Yes.